Hi, my name's Devon. I've been married for 25 years and I have a family of 6. As an individual entrepreneur, my company's been on the Inc. 5000 list more than just about anybody in this country. I do want you to know, I don't know the easy way in anything. I only know the hard way. All right, so you got started. I'm gonna talk to you about a difficult concept. People try to explain it to me before I started a company. I thought I got it, and then I really didn't get it until about 12 months in. And it's cash flow versus, profitability. And the reason it's super important is because you could start your company, right? You go back to the whole landscaping company, and you could say, all right, I'm gonna get started. I got an old pickup truck and I got $100. I bought a lawnmower. I'm a landscape company, right? And you go out and you do all of this work and you hire a couple people and you get a really big contract, right? And you get 4 of them. And next thing you know, you're making, you build, I don't know, $20,000 or something. You're like, wow, I can't believe I built $20,000 after 3 months. This is great. I'm so excited, right? Well, next thing you know, you have to pay your employees. You have to put gas in that truck. You have to pay insurance on that truck. You have to, all of a sudden the truck breaks down. You have to fix that truck or buy a new truck. And all of a sudden, all of this money that you thought you made, you're waiting on because you're like, wait, no, I build this. Well, that's the key. You build it, right? So you build it, you send out the bill at the end of the month. When did you do the work? We did the work at the beginning of the month. When do you have to pay your employees? When the work's done, right? In 2 weeks, right? When do you have to buy the gas? Well, as the work's being done, right? When do you have to pay for the truck to get fixed? As it's being done. You send this bill out and all of a sudden the bill does it, you send it out and they say, oh yeah, we got it. We gave it to, turned it into accounts payable. Well, great, when am I gonna get that money? Oh, well, 30 days from now. Wait, now that's 60 days after I actually did the job. You're like, okay, well, I guess I can stomach it, right? And all of a sudden, you call them up at the end of the month and say, hey, where's my money? And they go, oh, sorry, we forgot to process that. You get another 60 days, another 30 days later. Now all of a sudden, you're getting paid for work that you did 90 days ago. Well, you already had to pay those bills yourself, right? You do that, compound that problem 3 or 4 or 10 or 20 times over the course of the year, and all of a sudden, you might theoretically be doing great on paper, but your cash hasn't caught up to your financials. And we don't understand that until we're actually dealing with that. I didn't understand it until I was dealing with it. I'm like, I'd go home and tell my wife, I'm like, I think we're doing great. Look at what we did. We sold this much this month, da 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 da. And she'd say, okay, well, the bank account's negative. And I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Financials versus cash flow, right? And so it's very difficult concept to understand, but make sure that when you're going into the business that you learn this concept, that you shorten those account receivable times as quickly as possible. Get that money as quickly as possible. Try to tie your bills and your expenses to the same month. Try to get ahead. I always call it getting ahead of your cash, right? Getting ahead of your cash flow. And it's very difficult, especially those first 2 years. Typically, by the time you make it 2 years, you've done enough work and your cash is coming in steady enough that you're actually probably, your financials and your cash flow probably caught up to each other. But especially in those first 2 years, cash flow is so difficult and so hard to manage. So be very careful. Now, I will tell you this, here's another problem. Some companies are the type of company that can actually collect their money before they do the work. So you have to be extremely careful with that. I know a friend of mine who was in the beginning just very naive, and so he would get these down payments and he would take those down payments for work to be done and manufacturing to be done and buying product and whatnot, and he would take those down payments and then he would spend that money because he thought, well, I've got all this excess money. Well, no, you took a down payment, you had to pay for product, right? And that product you have to install, but you've already spent that money. So cash flow can also work in reverse when you're collecting money earlier than you've actually done the job. So you have to be so careful and so diligent with your cash flow versus financials, especially in the first 2 years. It's a hard way, it's the only way I know. I hope it helps.